Hey there folks, Wrel here. I thought we'd talk a little bit about the cover changes that have been made to the new BioLabs, or rather the BioLabs on Amerish received some adjustments. I'm going to do a little bit of live commentary. I'm using the observer camera right now. And every time I've tried to do this video in the past, and I've tried to do it like 3 times already, the videos ended up 30 minutes or longer, so we're going to try to keep it a little bit quicker. I'm going to quickly run through the changes that have been made. So this relies a lot on your knowledge of just what the old BioLabs were, and there are some people fighting in it now. This is on live, it's on Connery, and I'll just talk it through. So the old BioLabs, and you'll still see it on Hassan, Azamir, and Indar, they had their there was a lot of clutter right here. And it kind of created this this little back and forth that you had to play peekaboo around, but there was, actually it was this asset right here, I think. It had a couple of those stacked up in a little thin line. The vehicle terminal was actually pushed out here, so there was very little cover. It was kind of open, and also really difficult to work in. Now, when you're designing bases in general, you want to try to limit the number of lanes in which you can get fired on, or number of angles that you can get fired on from at any given time. So in the old BioLabs, this is completely open. You got like a potted plant here and some in the back, but they don't split the fields of fire. And by fields of fire, I'm talking about the people camping here. Actually, this whole area is different, so just enjoy that. The people who are camping on this side, if you were able to push in, right, and run this way, like if you clear that side, you want to be able to kind of sit there, get some breathing room, let people come in with you and gather up. And these staging points allow for progressive movement into a base, which is something that I think a lot of our bases do poorly, is that they have a very all or nothing approach to base design. And that kind of brings me to some of the problems that we have with the current BioLabs on Hassan, Indar, Amerish, and also, or not Amerish, but well, yeah, a little bit. So, the cover pass that was made to the Amerish BioLabs, it's a band-aid solution. That's all it is. If anybody says otherwise, which they wouldn't, but they'd be lying, because that's all that it is. It was since we were working on Amerish anyway, and we try to export terrain and visibility as rarely as possible, because it's a big download, and it costs us a lot of money. It costs the user base time spent out of the game, and just there's a bunch of hangups that come with it. So in the old BioLabs, we have, well, same as the new ones, we have a place where you have to stick your sender underneath, and then there's travel time all the way up, right? And during the travel time, there's a feeling of like helplessness because you aren't able to defend yourself. You can't, it's not like pushing down it's not like pushing into a point where you can kind of peek a little bit and do a little bit of slicing and kind of clear out the enemies. You don't get that with grab lifts. And grab lifts in general are really gamey mechanics. And so are jump pads. Jump pads do the same thing, they just do it faster. So from wherever the jump pad is over here, throws you up here. If you have not made a presence on this pad, like VS is here, they have a few guys there, so it's going to be pretty stable for a little bit. They will be able to, like, since they have a presence there, that's good, they have control of it. But if Tiara was pushed out, you would not be able to get in, because they would just shoot you down like skeet shooting, or trap shooting, or whatever. And again, it's this feeling of helplessness, not being able to defend yourself as you push in slowly. So the adjustments that were made, there's a lot of facets to it. One of them we talked about was cutting off crossfire, right? So people over here can no longer benefit the people that are over there, and vice versa. There's also a lot of reduction in the noise that's created, and we talked about the small like containers and the fences that used to be here, and you'd have to like jump up on top of it and fire some shots, and sometimes there'd be a guy hiding on the other side, and it was just a mess. And again, you can get shot from like every angle. But for this, you jump up here, or you start down below, And the cover's at such a height where it can cover you pretty well, like this guy's doing right here. And you can also jump up and kind of creep around and slice this corner, and you can see anybody who's camping in this corner at any time. And this is what I'm talking about. This is exactly what I'm talking about. People can push in. It does not even matter if there was people over here, because they can get a foothold. And of course, they'll still have to fight those people, you know, once they loop around, and if there's TR over here or whatever. But allowing attackers in general to make a more substantial push is one of the main flow adjustments that was attempted to be made. Also over here, so you got TR welling up, and you can do this back and forth, but it's yeah, a little bit better. I'm glad to see that. That was nice. So over on this side, we cleaned up a lot of the visual clutter, making it very distinct. Like you could see the path here, that's where people can come out of. You could see the path here, that's where people can come out of. And then this is completely blocked off. And if you look at the old biolabs, maybe I'll post a screenshot or something like that. We just had a cluttered mess that made it very difficult to see where people would be standing and firing at you from. So it was an important thing to clean up. Have a little bit of this action going on over here. This is not super helpful. It's just that you fire from here, like it doesn't even cover you entirely. But again, it just helps actually extinguish some of the... Oh, there's no stairs here. What the heck? Okay, well, I guess that was missed. That's fine. It's fine. But it helps reduce the longer sight lines. So cleans it up so you don't have like all this. So when you look this direction, right, you'll see your random shapes and stuff, and if somebody's shooting at you, you won't really know it till they start actually hitting you, or like you have to start really paying attention. But here you can cut off some of this visual clutter. It makes it so you can more easily establish who's shooting at you, and it gives you a little bit of cover. It reduces the longer sight lines and gives you something to work with here. Yeah, a little bit of that action. Okay. Other adjustments that were made. Nothing inside that room there. This hallway is still a death trap, as noted. And inside though. Actually, I should probably start over here. So one of the things that we did was create more... Okay. Spawn rooms in this game should have jurisdiction over a certain area. You should really never have a problem camping the spawn room specifically. Like, you shouldn't want to do that. You should want them to be very deadly areas that you don't want to get near, and give players who are attacking a place to kind of well up and then, you know, mass their forces. And over here, that's what's happening right here, is they have a little bit more flexibility. And a lot of that's is due in no small part to the door being sealed, for one, so it's not people just trying to run in there and then getting pounder max or scat maxed on. The potted plants are gone here and on the other side, which means that teleporter room, you'll be able to see absolutely everything and take shots at it. So this is a very undesirable location for defenders to be. If they were to walk by, they generally would want to avoid it. And also, since you do have to go around now, it gives you a better opportunity to kind of pace your gameplay a little bit. Even if there were a bunch of TR over here, you can see, clear this line, right? People peeking back and forth. There were some slight adjustments made here too. But people peeking from here, people up on the roof, very easy, very distinct to see. And you also have the new biolabs actually help cast, you know, people's silhouette a little bit better as well. And you can kind of peek around. And again, just look at 1, 2, maybe 3 sight lines if you're not including the other roofs, which are always a wild card. Speaking of wild cards though, so over in the old biolabs, we had the potted plants that were here, so you had to literally jump over it, and then you have to commit yourself to this side. And there was no cover here. There's a potted plant over here, but it didn't cover you. There was nothing in the middle. It was just like this open death field, and it's not what you want, right? You want people to be able to move intelligently through an area, and that's what this alleyway did. So adding some servers, some ridiculous computer components that are just made for cover. So, because who would use this? Doesn't even make sense, right? Yeah. Enjoy that. All right, and also created an overhang so that light assaults can't sit up on the roof as easily. If they're up here, they have to basically like overcommit to kill anybody who's walking underneath. And as this guy is doing, you know, he's moving back and forth between cover, and it's also breaking up the sight lines. So if I were to push out this direction, I can see 1 line of sight, 2 line of sight, firing lanes rather, and it lets you move very deliberately, and you can kind of inch up. And again, so like this side over here is completely blocked off. It does not have direct line of sight over the spawn room, which is again very good. Okay, added this little thingamabobber right here, just a little bit of cover. Also this rock, a little bit of cover. Again, breaks up long sight lines. This place in the past has just been very difficult to maneuver around because, like, they have the potted plants, but these things are only knee height or shin height, and you couldn't really use them for cover. But with the rock here, it allows you to just, you know, you can zone people out depending on where they are. And here as well, just a little bit of cover when you're actually defending the point. This is the Southern BioLab. I can't remember if it's Onatha or, actually I could check real quick. That's Onatha. Has a capture point down here, but Zalos, which is the northern Amerish, northeastern Amerish BioLab, has a capture point right here. And some of the adjustments were made to this room as well. Before we get into that though, let's look at your spawn room, or your teleporter room push. So you push out this way, go into here. You again, you're narrowing up the sight lines as you go. This should be clear, right, if you have some allies coming in that way, which usually is the case. You have people on the landing pad and people on the spawn room or the teleporter rooms, and they kind of push in. So instead of being separated, they're actually just one big force now, which is helpful. And now you can push here. Again, 1 sight line, see everybody up on top. 2 here, up here. And then you can kind of slice the pie. So you'll notice that these the cabbage is really close to the wall, and the reason for it is that you don't want people actually stacks all the way up to the ceiling too. So you want to limit the amount of places that people can hide up and out of line of sight, especially when you have to take a hard right turn to check your corner. Anything you can do to soften the corner is good, because when you push into a place, you're immediately exposing yourself to 180 degrees of fire, right? Unless you have a nice line of sight break like this. And forcing the player to clear one door and then clear the other, like in a straight line, is a really, really difficult ask. So to soften up on that, you create better angles where you can kind of so if your back is to this, you have a line of sight over here, right? Without exposing yourself 180 degrees. So a little bit of that action going on, and also you don't want people camping like up on top. I'd kind of mentioned it prior, but up on top it's the worst thing, because it's not only 180 degrees this way, but you also have to think vertically as well. Which you'll always have to in a game like this, but much easier to do when, again, you're not turning 90 degrees. That said, pushing into this room should be a little bit easier now, especially since you no longer have the crossfire from here and then people shooting the doorway over here as they come out of the spawn room. That was a really long sight line, and there was really nothing you could do about it. Before we continue on there, looks like these people are kind of pushing up here, and I want to see how the flow works. A spawn room has been adjusted a significant amount. You'll notice this wall here, which walls off actually the teleporter that's on the other side of it. That's for attackers. And some people were kind of a little, actually some of the very few feedback that I got about this redesign, people were kind of, well, they had mixed opinions because they like to flank here, but really that's not the point. You never want to sit people shooting directly into a spawn room. It's not good gameplay, it's not compelling, it's not fun.
Time to bug out. The facility is lost.
Facility is lost. Alright, so in this flow here, things have changed a fair amount. We have more cover here to let players move up, especially if they're on the defending part. And it's also the pain field, I can actually show you, has been expanded a fair amount. Oh, I can't, oh, okay. Yeah. And it goes to right about here, so that people can't sit right behind this wall. They have to push a little bit away from it, and that helps expose the player to the defenders. So you can still come over here, but you'll notice that this door is open now, which it's not on the other continent's biolabs. So again, you're giving the players a real threatening posture, the defenders, to allow them to push out. Now you don't want to continue that line right to important areas. Like you don't want to give line of sight of the SCU, right? That's ridiculous. So you got this potted plant here. You could technically jump on the roof, but you can jump on the roof anywhere, right? There's no elevator that leads directly up. So if you're a defender, now instead of just getting railed on by whatever's happening over here, and actually people on the roof even will have a little bit harder time taking you out, you can sit in this corner here, and you can clear here, and clear anybody camping over here, and you can move up, right? Peek corners. Yeah, look for the sight lines that you can clear, and it just lets you move up more intelligently, right? And that's kind of a big draw. So this point over here, not a whole lot of changes that have been made, but the ones that were made are somewhat significant. Hey, there's C4. This is completely closed off now, except for the skylight. So skylight gives light assaults the opportunity to, basically this entire field is dead. There's nothing here for players anymore outside of just looking pretty, because of the wall here that closes off from the spawn room. This is a good thing. It's a sacrifice that needed to be made to give a little bit more freedom to the spawn room. So again, players were before just camping the spawn room. Like they'd sit here, wait for people to come out and peek, or they'd be sitting behind trees and just like playing peekaboo with the spawn room. And there was a big wall right here, but it didn't. You had to go some direction, right? Either this way, or up this path or down this path. Now you don't have any of that peekaboo gameplay, and you are free to move about the country. So we have this overhang here, and the cover is spaced in such a way that it's really difficult to get line of sight for too far. So this is like prime shotgun territory. So light assaults in particular, you jump down, you bring a shotgun, you get to push in on the point, and it leaves this area very dangerous for even defenders. Defenders will have an easier time now getting into this room. But at the same time, they'll have to contest with a new sort of threat. So you can pick whether you have a longer sight line to deal with, when you're defending. And this is we have this building in a lot of places, or you have shorter sight lines where you have to tumble, and you can get up here again. Even as a defender, and if you wanted to try to camp, it's much more difficult, but it's still doable. And it also leaves you very few places to hide. Unlike before, where when you had the railing, you just fire down and then you'd jump and you'd be out of line of sight because you'd be in this little pit here. And that lets you heal up and everything else. And you really want people to commit when they're kind of doing a campy little push. All right, so this side of the BioLab was changed to be open, very, very open. And what it does is, combined with this wall over here in this teleporter room, it gives the players who are spawning from this place, again, same thing, it's a very similar concept from the other teleporter room, but it gives you jurisdiction over this entire area, which lets you move up. And if people are, if defenders are over here camping or firing, trying to defend off this point, they have to do it from on the point, or around this or around, just a little bit further back. So again, it lets attackers actually push in and have an opportunity instead of getting stuck at this choke for, who knows how long. Maybe, it could be completely too open, maybe, too much power given to the defenders, and we'll have to see. Or the attackers, rather. Yeah, we'll have to see how it plays out. Obviously, you saw that fight move through very quickly. TR were certainly outpopped. There was a lot of VS here. But at the same time, you saw that they were able to break through the choke very easily. And even though the TR defenders kind of came back through, there was nothing to deal with because they're already through. So should help reduce stalemates, especially when the fights scale up. And that was a very small skirmish between people, but yeah. Okay. Last thing I want to talk about. So up here, also there are some slight covers adjustments to, again, just to limit fields of fire. Like you have this thing that blocks the way for that one door, which, yeah, you're good. You get the idea. Okay. Other side of this cover element is the bridge, right? Bridge is, if you've seen a base like this in the past, and we use it everywhere, it's like there is no cover. Like now, at least with the energy bridge, you can kind of jump and switch lanes, but that's about all you can do. So pushing across this is a death trap, and it still is. The cover is done in such a way that it lets you move up a little bit, but it doesn't cover you from all sides. So from here, for example, like having this here makes it very difficult to get railed on by whoever's sitting in this doorway. And this is not perfect, the alignment. There's only so many things you can do without making it look horrible, but it is what it is. A little bit of cover helps you move up. And it's done in such a way that it limits at least one angle when you're sitting behind it. So instead of that line of sight there, you are here, right? You get to see the one. And then when you're ready to move up, you can move up to here, see this angle, and this blocks you out. Same thing over here, like you can kind of inch up, or you can move this direction. Like this will block your left and your right side. You'll be able to kind of fire some shots in and try to push the enemy back. And then at that point, you just make your mad dash into the into the building. Same thing on the other side. You start from here, you have that line of sight, then you move over here, you have this line of sight. Again, move up, and just gives you a little bit of play, right? And it's not perfect. Again, like right here, this is not like you are exposed to both. And then the same sort of thing. Like if you're trying to peek into this room, or trying to like kill some of the people who are outside of it, at least you won't be attacked by the guy that's on the other side of this wall. Not at the same time, at least. Just gives you a little bit of breathing room. That's important too. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is it. Quick pass of the BioLab. Again, this video went 20 some odd minutes. I just can't stop talking. Okay. But hopefully you now understand the intent of some of the changes, and let me know how you feel about it if you have had a chance to play with it yet. Most people are currently in Ikanam, or pushing towards it, because it's a very, new, exciting, fun base. But while we were doing the pass on Amerish, it just made sense to kind of at least hit the BioLabs and see what we can do. And I shook this out in just a couple of days, and especially with testing and that sort of thing, it was actually a pretty quick process. So that's it. If this video has been interesting, helpful, or entertaining, please feel free to like, subscribe, tell your friends about the channel, and let me know what you think about the BioLab adjustments. Probably going to do this or something similar on the other continents as well. And they don't have to be the same. This was very much a proof of concept just to get the flow down right. And there's some things that I'm sure I can improve on. And I would be looking forward to having you guys let me know what you think. Thanks very much, folks. Wrel signing off.